What's so special about knitting? Well, when you can take a piece of thread and create a beautiful garment, and it's not like just creating the garment, it's the experience that you're having while you're knitting. You're just so zenned out. Another wonderful thing is, like, say you're worrying. There's something going on in your life and you're worrying. You could take on a knitting project that you can completely immerse yourself in. And you're no longer thinking about whatever the worry is, And then over time, whatever that thing is, time heals all. So that's one way. Say, usually for me, when I'm knitting, I'm not worrying. My mind, my brain is so clear. It's so clear. It's like I'm just connected to the knitting. I'm connected to the tactile experience. And it's a way for me to connect to myself. I'm not a meditator. And for me, knitting is active meditation. When I started knitting, my whole life changed. My life today is completely different than it was when I started knitting. And it's because of the meditative process of knitting, the needles, right brain, left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain. I mean, I think that, it must do something. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I think that right brain, left brain motion must do something for the brain. Sometimes even if I'm in a quandary, I could just take a question, just take it to the knitting. And then there's the community. It's an analogy for life. So you're knitting, making something from nothing. And so often in life, we have to make something from nothing. And then, I'm a master knitter, because I've made so many mistakes. Just like my life, I'm a master at life because I've made so many mistakes, and with the knitting, you make a mistake, you rip it out. I mean, yeah, you got to rip it out. You got to rip it out and you get to start all over. And just like in life, we make mistakes, we got to go back, but it's an opportunity to create newly, So, I tell all new people, if you're not, when you knit, you're going to rip. You're going to rip. If you're not willing to rip, then, it's not the craft for you. It's great for perfectionists because perfectionists, we get to have, for some reason, like when we're knitting, we get the ability to have compassion for ourselves and not, it doesn't have to be so perfect. So you get to forgive, and it's amazing. You get to allow mistakes. Perfectionists don't do that. And most importantly, it's the community, connecting to people. It's the, knitters connecting with one another. There's a camaraderie, and I've knitted all over the world, and my knitting is a communication tool because when people see me knitting, they are comfortable. I am approachable, and when I see someone knitting, I can approach them. And so it's like it's a tool to get past a barrier, because then what I've realized is, like, I don't need the knitting to connect with people. I was born and raised in New York, and my family isn't here in California, and I miss them dearly. So I created this store. I created a community of people. You know, like today, I was here all by myself, working. I actually thought that a new person was starting today, but I must have gotten my days mixed up. So I was alone here. And women came and sat down and knitted and hung out with me. And it was so much fun, you know? And I'm learning now to just be present with them. And it's like whatever's happening, yeah, I got a grand opening tomorrow, but it's like, who cares? Who cares about all that stuff? You know, to connect with Trish and to connect with Worth and to connect and to hear what's going on in their lives. You know, it just makes my life richer. Yeah, it's a major sense of accomplishment. You know, when I started knitting, my life was very, 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 it was difficult. I was having a tough time and I wasn't feeling really great about myself or anything. And it was fantastic because it was right around the time my father was very sick. He was dying. And he was my cheerleader. Everything I did was just great, Jeanine. Just great. So, you know, when he got ill, he lost the ability to speak. And I would talk to him. I would call my dad on the phone, like when he was at work, and I would just go on and on and on and on, and I would just talk. He just loved to hear me talk. So when he got sick, I lost that, and it was really, really, really like a huge loss. And I started to knit, and it's amazing because it was a sense of accomplishment. It was a sense of accomplishment for me because I really liked what I created. I thought it was magical. And people thought it was great. Like I got so many compliments. I could just wear a knitted thing and people were like, oh, you made that? So I was like, oh, this is great. I can get all kinds of acknowledgement. I just need to wear something that I knitted, you know? It doesn't even if I'm walking the dog in my, you know, dog walking coat, people just oohing and eyeing over it. So there's just so many benefits. And, you know, people think knitting is so hard. I thought knitting was hard. When I was younger, I watched my cousins knit, and I thought that they were great knitters because their mothers taught them. So I had that thing, oh, I can't do it. Just like people have that thing, oh, I'm left-handed, I can't do it. None of that is true. Knitting is so not hard, which is why I was able to have the confidence to open this business because I knew and I know it's teachable. So, you know, when I opened the store about 6 months, not 6 months, that's not true. I opened the store about a year after I started knitting. And people thought I was nuts. And I am. But, you know, it was because I was a new knitter. I was like, if I can do this, I can teach, other people can do it. I can create a business. If I can get it like that, and I didn't know everything, but what I did know is I will hire people that knit better than I do. And they will teach me. And while I'm learning, I will learn with the community. And it worked. You know, I love like people. That combined with, hey, I'm new at this. I'm new at this, and if I'm cranking out all these badass garments, you can too. I'm not special. Well, I am special, and so are you.